The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 175. Today's date is Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. I'm having to get used to saying 2021, but it is what it is. We are live, as always, on YouTube and over on Facebook. If you're out there, then we don't know that you're out there unless you say something in the chat. So let us know that you're out there. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, then let us know that you're out there and tell us where you're from. We'll try to get you a shout out throughout the show. If you've got any comments or questions that you want to be read or answered by us on the panel, you can always put them in the live chat and tag one of us. If not, you can always call. Yes, you can call into the show or text those questions to the number down below. It is the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates at the Gun Cleaners. That phone number is 530-364-4678. If you are out there and you're struggling with maybe depression and you need someone to talk to, obviously feel free to call me or text me or email me 24/7. If I can help you, I surely will. I can listen. I can't give you medical advice, but I can sure listen, maybe talk you through some of the stuff. But if you're looking for someone that's anonymous, that might be able to help you, especially if you're a veteran, please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. Get some help, man. There's always people here to help you. We're more than happy to help anyone that we can. But like I said, if we can't help, then there is someone that definitely can over there and all of that. If you have questions or problems, like I said, contact me. But if you don't want to, contact the Veteran Crisis Hotline for sure. Yeah, we're spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions or want to know what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, please visit the website www.marines.com. Bring in our panel. We've got some other links out there that we're going to do that, but where's the punch pie? Midnight says, I heard there would be punch and pie. It's in the green room. Sorry. I think Clover already ate it. That's why he's green all the time. Just saying. But yeah, if anybody out there in the chat would like to join the discussion, let me know. I'll put the link out there for you. You can join and have a discussion. Like I said, call, text in, all that. We've already got a text from Jason that wants to know some stuff. So we'll bring that up here in a little bit. But before we get going in on the topic, which should be a fun one tonight, let's bring in a couple of our guests right quick. And we've got the Rogue Banshee. What's up, homie?
Hey, man, it's fun to finally get on your show, and what a topic to have an inauguration with.
It's a fun, it's something that I like to talk about, and I've had a lot of people with comments and emails and stuff on a video that I put out, I don't know, a couple of months ago and all that, but it's kind of been going on. And plus, with everything that's going on in the world right now, I'm in a couple groups over on Facebook, and that's been a topic over the last week, and especially over the weekend. A lot of people asking about truck guns, vehicle guns, and all of that, storage laws and all that. So I said, you know what, since it needs to be a lot of people talking about it, let's go ahead and do that. So looks like we have a message, and it says, okay, it's from Jason. It said, thank you, Ghost. We'll get to that question that he had sent in. I think he sent actually over Monday or yesterday, I think it was. And I didn't reply to him. I apologize, Jason, for not replying. I was going to bring it up tonight. So I hope you didn't need it right away, but let's see here. Sorry. real quick, but I hope he didn't need it real quick, but we'll get to it for sure. Let's get that out of the way. Trying to cut down on my tab. Sorry about that. And from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus. Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
I didn't do it, man.
You didn't do it.
Nope.
Well, I heard you did. I have like from a friend of a friend of a friend knowledge.
I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who.
Yeah.
That don't count. That's circumstantial. Doesn't count. Circumstantial.
It's pretty reliable though.
Nah. It probably came from Pancake Boy or something out there.
Well, I didn't say that, but maybe it was. All right. Rogue says he fabricated the evidence. There's definitely a conspiracy against leprechauns. I think they just think that they think they're better than everybody. That's the biggest problem. Because they have a pot of gold and they can move within the spiritual world and all of that stuff. They just think that they're better than everybody else.
That's what it is, man. Hey, did you see Stephen Elder out there? Said he's moving to Texas from Seattle. Holy moly.
Awesome.
Bring it on, bro.
Welcome to freedom, my friend. Welcome to freedom. I know that I don't live. Actually, what's weird? I was thinking about this. So I've lived in Arkansas now for 18, almost 19 years. And I've lived in Arkansas longer than I lived in Texas, or right about the same. Because I left when I was 19. Well, I was almost 19. I turned 19 in boot camp. But yes, that's kind of strange to me that I'll always consider myself a Texan, but I've actually lived in Arkansas about the same amount of time in my life that I lived in Texas. Well, that's not true because I actually had a couple more years there in San Antonio. So but I'm close. It's almost 50-50. That's kind of crazy to me to think that. I am going to do something out there. Like I said, if anyone wants to join and join the discussion, go ahead and use that link right there. You're more than welcome. We'd love to have you in there. Okay, so Young out there says Diamondback 15 300 black out is in the hands of my local police department due to a malfunction and misfire. They said I'll receive it in 3 months. I have 75 days left. Do you think I'll receive it? So my question is why does the police department have possession of your firearm for a misfire? Is it a negligent discharge? Secondly, why? Once again, I go back to the original question. Why does the police department have possession of your firearm? So interesting. I'll be interested to hear that.
Also be interested to know where we're talking about.
This is true. Yeah. And it might be a state law for something. Yeah.
City, state, county, city, if you can.
Yeah. So before we go on, I do, it's not something that it has anything to do with anything except for the fact that I got a really bad text, a business partner of mine from about, I haven't talked to him in several years, but 4 or 5 years ago, I get a text from a mutual friend and said that, you heard about so-and-so. And I said, no. And he said, well, he died, from COVID. And he died. He's 32, 33 years old. Died last night. Got a 5-year-old daughter. It'll go down as a COVID death, but it doesn't help that he was probably literally like 450 pounds. There's, we've heard about the COVID stuff, and it's extenuating circumstances and all of that have to go in it. But it'll go down as a COVID. But I just want to say to Leslie and all that, I'm sorry for your loss. And even though Robbie and I didn't talk much in the last few years, I'm sorry. So I don't think she's going to watch this, but I just want to put out there and say that to Leslie, his wife, and their daughter Parker. So anyways, it was, I don't want to bring the chat down, but that's a tough text to get first thing in the morning, especially when I didn't know he was sick, but two, he's 32, 33 years old. And it's just like crazy. It's crazy. Once again, it'll go down as a COVID death, which who knows? It is what it is. But obviously being 450 plus pounds probably didn't help things out. Let's see here. Stephen Elder says, I did my homework Took me about a month. I pulled it down to a few states, but overall, Texas is the last bastion of true America that still exists today. Arkansas is pretty good to go also.
Oklahoma's not bad either.
Oklahoma's not bad. Missouri's not terrible. This little section of the country is pretty solid. Let's see here. Rich says, I think he's probably talking to Young out there. Says your best bet would be contact a firearms-centered attorney, see what they say. They'll know more things about in your area. I haven't seen Young MC. That's what I'm going to call him, is Young MC. Clovis,
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, contacting Fire and Policy Coalition or one of the orgs about it could be interesting. Yeah, he said he was fined. He got a fine for it. That's what I was wondering. Yeah, that's not going to be uncommon if you had a, probably firing a, gun in the city limits, some type of
limits, something like that. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's not going to be uncommon. I would think in New Mexico they would give it back.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was, did he ever say what actually the charge was? Was it firing in city limits or what? I didn't. I scrolled back, but I didn't see if he actually ever said. From Country Roads Take Me Home. What's up, Rich? The 1% is here. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Chilling like a villain, man. Chilling like a villain.
Yeah, you guys still talking about what's going on with Young? I had to step away for a second.
He said he was fined $800. So we're trying to, whether it was shooting in city limits or ND. I don't know exactly what the charge is or why they have possession, but he said he was charged $800. So
yeah. What my advice? Contact a firearms related attorney in your area.
Yeah, we just talked about that for sure. Yeah.
The first consultation is usually going to be free, and they can at least, if nothing else, give you advice on how to handle that.
Yep.
In a situation like this, you may or may not get your firearm back. I mean, that's just the sad state of affairs. It could get lost. It could be misplaced. Get yourself somebody at least familiar with your case in case you do have to take legal action against the police department in trying to recover that weapon.
Yep. Midnight says Texan, Pennsylvania, New York, or what you call people from Arkansas, ghost tactical. Arkansans. Arkansans is what we call ourselves. So yeah, there you go. AR Kansans. So there you go. Yeah, Young, if you want to call, call that number below for sure. Absolutely call into the show, and we'd love to have you kind of tell us what's going on. But the number's down below right there on the screen, 530-364-4678. Okay. So he did. He said he was cleaning it, put it back together, racked around, and it went off. ND. So
yeah, I didn't catch where he lives. Did he say where he lives at?
New Mexico.
Okay, yeah, that could be troublesome because New Mexico's been going more and more anti-gun every year.
Yeah.
They are with regulation. As far as the sentiment in the climate, I know a lot of folks and a lot of groups and forums from New Mexico. Matter of fact, there's actually, what is it, Firearm Fortress or Gun Fortress or something like that .com, which is a great one. It's based out of New Mexico, and so they're while you're right, while they have been kind of left leaning as a state when it comes to 2A matters, it's not horrible.
They've been getting worse. So that's one of the reasons why Two Gun Kitty moved from New Mexico to Texas, was because of how bad they were starting to get with some of the regulations that they've been proposing and passing in their legislature.
Mm-hmm. I love Buck. Now, Buck lives about 30, 40 minutes from me, and we saw each other. We trained together this weekend a little bit. He says we are the tactical Kansas. I've always said AR Kansas, but I like that. We're the tactical Kansas. I'm digging that. That might have to be a t-shirt of some sort. I like that. We're the tactical Kansas. Young MC out there says, give me a moment to call, but I will be calling from a 575 number. Right on, bro. So let's go in real quick. And we do have a question before we get jumping on, on all of this topics. Jason P had sent a message yesterday. And as a matter of fact, I was in the middle of Clover's lounge podcast when it came through. So I like I said, I didn't let it go. I was going to enter tonight, but he said, I was wondering about a good company to get my slide cut for an RMR. I have never done that because I don't run dots on any of my guns, but I know was it Jaeger Works is the one that most people that I hear have always spoke highly of. What is it? Was another one? Was it Lone Wolf? Lone Wolf, another one I've heard people talk about, but I don't have any. I don't run dots on mine, so I've never sent a slide in to get cut. But I think Jaeger Works and Lone Wolf are the two that I hear. But usually Jaeger Works are the ones that I hear people talking about the most. Rich, Rogue, Clover, anyone have any experience in sending slides in to get RMR cuts?
I don't have any experience having it done, but pricing them, sometimes it's cheaper to buy a slide that's already cut.
Yep. This is true. And you can, and if I don't know what kind of gun it is, Jason, if you're still out there, let us know what type of gun it is if you want to. And if it's a popular model gun, someone out there has got an aftermarket slide, I'm sure. And X out there, he says that Jaeger Works comes highly recommended. Yeah, I don't run dots on mine. And if I did, I would probably just go get a slide that already had the cuts in it. Keep the original configured slide in case you ever want to sell it in the original one or whatever. Glock 29, he says. Glock 29, then yes. Someone out there has got, I bet you Faxon probably will have one. But a lot of companies, if it's a Glock, then there are plenty of going to be aftermarket slides.
Yeah, Lone Wolf might. Lone Wolf specializes in stuff for Glocks. So if anybody does, Lone Wolf will.
Yeah, Lone Wolf is, but once again, you're talking about by the time you send in your slide, get it back, the cost of it and all that, you can order a 29 slide, probably from Lone Wolf or whoever is out there. That way you can keep your original slide just to have it if you ever want to sell it. Having the original slide probably would be nice as well. So that's a great, whoever came up with that, Clover or whoever that was, about going aftermarket and just buying a slide with the cuts in it already would probably. And the great thing about that is especially with a Glock, and if it's Lone Wolf or whoever uses it, if you have a seemingly popular RMR or red dot or whatever you're going to use, then they probably will have the cuts for that specific model. If it's a Holosun or whatever, Trigicon or whatever, they're probably going to have cuts for that specific model as well. So I would definitely say that's probably the best way to go, is to get an aftermarket slide with the cuts already in there. So yeah, anybody want to have any go to talk about that before we move on?
Yeah, Honcho Fetches, they're out there, Zev Technology. Yeah, they're another good one. And if Rock Slide, but if you go with Rock Slide, don't use their parts kit. You want to use the standard Glock parts kit with theirs. Because who was it? Snob, I think it was. It was either Snob or Obnoxious got the Rock Slide and had all kinds of problems with the parts kit that they had sent them.
So
now Rob's real quick. Rob's trying to start a riot out there. He says it's better just buy an M&P. So go ahead.
So with I don't know. I don't know that we know the premise on this. Maybe there's some kind of custom work or something he's wanting done. And so I can speak to that, not on a Glock, but onto multiple firearms I've used for competition and had to send them, send the receivers off or whatever, and send the slides off, send the bolts off, do other things. I've never had an issue. I've only dealt with reputable companies that are, known for what they do and that sort of stuff. And typically the turnaround is pretty good.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't know the premise of this. He just literally said about a good company to get a slide cut for RR. Who is making noise?
Rogues reload. Sounds right.
Hey man, mute yourself if you're not talking, because that's annoying. So like I said, I don't know the premise. He just wants to know our RMR cuts. I don't use dots on my pistol, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, all I've heard about is Jaeger Works is good, but Lone Wolf, they said Honcho says Thrash Tactical does custom cuts. And so, what did you say, Rich, about the rock slide? Use your own.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're using genuine Glock parts in it because they'll send you a parts kit. And G23 out there just said he also had an issue with his the G23 slide that he ordered from them with the parts kit that they sent. So if you're going to use a rock slide, you want to make sure you have an actual Glock parts kit and not the one that they send you.
Yeah. On the Facebook side, Tanner Rackley, what's up? Tanner is a young man who's from my hometown. He says, what's y'all's recommendation on the best AR to buy? There is no such thing because we don't know what kind and if you want to put this information, you can, but what's your budget? Obviously, what you could have gotten for $500 a year ago, you're probably getting for $1,900 to $1,000 now. Everything's kind of inflated in prices. But what's your budget, and what are you looking for? Are you using it for hunting, for training, for self-defense? What caliber are you looking for? And we'll kind of go through the room, and we'll give you some of what we think are good. But I would suggest you just go shoot a bunch. If you want to shoot some, let me know, and I can bring some of mine out and we can shoot and all that. But yeah, just let us know kind of stuff you're looking for, caliber, what you're going to use it for, your price range, and we'll go from there for sure. Chris Bucklew out there, another homie from in town. He's on Facebook, says Wilson Combat will do some custom work on Glocks, but it's less expensive to buy another gun. Well, if you're talking about Wilson Combat, even if you live here in Arkansas, can drive it to Berryville. The problem is you're paying for the name of Wilson Combat. Do they do great work? Yes. But a lot of what you're paying for, and you will pay for it, is the name of Wilson Combat. Go ahead. Whoever else was going to say something. No? Okay. I thought someone.
I was just agreeing with you. It's like I just said, yeah, when you said what you said, that's all it was.
Okay. So Twitter out there says basically all the above. So it's going to be a utility rifle. Preferably 223. So if you once the biggest thing that I need to know now, Tanner, is some sort of a budget, a price range that you're looking to get into, because when you're talking about price range, you're also talking about whether you're going to have money left over for an optic, or you're going to go with iron sights only. How are you going to configure that? Because that's going to play a role into my suggestions and these other guys' suggestions as well. So let us know kind of what your end all after optic rifle and everything, what a budget would be. And we'll go through the room and kind of give you some ideas of what, because we're all probably going to have different ideas of ARs. And I'm assuming this will be your first AR, because I know that you're pretty young kid. So you might only just turn 21 right now recently. But you're a pretty young kid. This probably be your first AR, so I don't suggest building your first AR. I suggest you buying the first one, and then you can build after that for sure. But yeah, let us know maybe what a budget is, and we'll go from there. Let me go back here and take this off. So it kind of runs right into what we're talking about, because this could be his vehicle gun as well if he wanted to, because he might want to go into a pistol caliber, configuration, and all of that. And John C says, if it's self-defense, money shouldn't be a factor. And in theory, that is right. But you're also talking about someone who's very, very young. When I say young, I think he's a year or two younger than my daughter. So he's at most like 21, 22. And he might just be getting a job, and he may not have the funds to go and get Daniel defense and spend whatever it takes to defend himself. He might be looking for a really good budget AR that he can get everything done, that self-defense, hunting, a little bit of everything until he can take that step up. So I never want to shame anybody and say, well, it shouldn't matter if it's self-defense. It does matter. Yep. It does matter. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree. I get the people that, buy once, cry once, gets on my nerves. It's like, you see that in competition. You see that with, the self-defense, whatever it might be. And having something there more than a rock or a pointy freaking stick is the most important thing. So if you've got to go budget for something that goes boom, and then put your pennies and your dollars and your Lincolns and whatever into a jar for the next few months while you have that at your bedside, behind the door, in the truck, or whatever, to save up for, something better, then that's great. But having something is key. That's number one.
Yeah. one thing to think about is budget may be subjective to what's available right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was what I was going to say. I was waiting for you to come around, and when you asked me right now, I was going to say whatever you can get. Quite honestly,
because $1,000 AR is much different than it was 12 months ago.
Yeah, and here's my thing. What do you already have as far as firearms? Right? Do you have something that could feasibly be used for whatever you're going to use that for right now, right? Do you already have something? Because if you do, right now is not the time to be running out and buying anything and paying 3 times inflated prices. That's just my opinion. Because let's say that you go out and you pay 3 times what it's worth in a couple of years, 3 years or something like that, we get the price drops again. And you turn around and it's a situation where you got to have money or whatever the case may be. You made a very bad decision and a very bad investment in buying that when you could have gotten by with maybe, I hate to say it, a pump shotgun or, anything else that you might have at the current time. So I wouldn't lock into, I got to have it, but if you got to have it, get whatever's out there. That's going to be your only play.
Yeah, Honcho out there says budget, use, upgradability, future plans for rifle, and that is the beautiful thing about the AR platform. Is it's kind of like a Glock. You can spend X amount of dollars to get this, and then you can go and over time put new barrel, put new bolts, put the BCG, the barrel. You can change those out over time and upgrade them into whatever. If you just want me to kind of give you an idea. Everyone that's been watching my stuff knows that I'm a big fan of. I've got 2 of these. I've got one. This is the Sport, and I've got a Sport 2 as well. But the Smith & Wesson M&P 15, they are to me like the Glocks of the AR. You can get it normally. You can get it for about $600, $700, probably more like $1,000 right now. I'll be honest, maybe even more. But the great thing about it is they run. They'll eat anything you put through it. They'll run. They're going to be dependable. And being this is Smith & Wesson, there's going to be a lot of companies out there that are going to be able to do BCG upgrades, barrel upgrades, and anything you want. They do come with the A2 side if you want that. And they come without the A2 side if you don't want that. So they're very, very dependable. And there's a reason why and there are other better ones out there. Absolutely. But I know right now what this rifle will do under any given circumstance. That's why this is my battle rifle, is I know what this is going to do. So people are going to laugh and I get that. For me, I trust my life with a Smith & Wesson M&P 15. Like I said, this is the Sport. I also have a Sport 2. I've got black with some FDE handguards on it, but I got a Sport 2 in this, but I love M&P. I love Smith & Wesson's AR-15. So he says, not sure on budget is a thing. I don't want to buy something cheap that won't last long as of right now. I have a 300 Win Mag for hunting, Remington 870, and a Smith & Wesson 40 shield.
You're not gonna. I don't think you're talking about anything modern, wearing it out or anything like that, right? I mean, even on the low end. I mean, as far as maybe having malfunctions or something crazy, but even that's far fetched nowadays. I mean, there's just way too many companies and stuff on the market. A couple of good. It was mentioned out there in the chat, but PSA, good option to look into. Ruger also makes a pretty good budget model. And as you're talking about the upgrades, I've seen a lot of people do this. I'm not a fan of this. They'll upgrade something, whatever firearm it is, and they'll sell whatever they've upgraded. And so my theory is throw that stuff in a box, because you upgrade the bolt, you upgrade the charging handle, you upgrade the handguards. Before you know it, you're literally an upper and lower receiver away from building a whole other rifle. You've got all the parts there. So it just makes sense to keep that stuff. And what if
you were just saying, Clover, and not only did they upgrade all the parts inside the receiver, they upgraded the receivers. They went and opened their drawer one day and they could have built a whole AR-15 just from what they had in their drawer.
Yeah, and I mean extra parts, right? So what if you have a failure? I mean, we're talking about mechanical objects, and no matter what, you can buy the most expensive brand. I've literally seen Cadillacs break down on the side of the road with 150 miles on them. You know, it happens.
What was the old thing in the 80s? If you have a Jaguar, you better have two of them because one's going to be in the shop at all times. So,
Right.
Totally.
Now, Tanner, I'll say this, and like I said, Tanner's younger, a little bit younger than my daughter. So, but he is here. I don't know. Obviously, you're watching on Facebook, but if you go over to the YouTube channel, Ghost Tactical, you'll go to my YouTube channel, and up there at the top, there's going to be a video. It's the best budget ARs. Now, whether or not these are the best ones, these are the ones that I have found over time that I think are for the money. Now, the prices that are on that video was done back in 2019. So they're going to be a little bit different what they are, but you'll get an idea. But I still think that you can go over to gunwatcher.com. Gunwatcher.com. At the top of the website, just type in 223 or AR-15 or whatever, and it's going to give you rifles that are available online and their prices, so you can kind of get an idea what's out there. Go see Ben over at Heber Gun. Ben's a really good guy. I don't know if you've been there before. Ben's a good friend of mine. He's a really good guy, and tell him what's going on, and he might be able to. I know he had a couple ARs in there last week. I don't know if they're still there. I haven't been back in about 10 days, but they did have them. Ruger makes a good one. PSA for sure. The Springfield Armory, the Saint is a good one for sure. But you're talking about all these things that were probably $500 to $600 a year ago are now $1,000 to $1,200. So, you know, and I don't want to, I'm never going to suggest this because it just comes down to what your priority is, Tanner. So I'm never going to suggest that you do this, but it's an option if you really, really, really want / need that 223 AR, and you have something that you might be willing to trade. I'm not saying other firearms like your 300 Win Mag or your Remington or your Shield, but if you have other things that you might be willing, there might be someone that you know that has an AR that might be willing to trade or barter and all of that. Just saying, if price is an issue, you say, I've got this plus $300. You never know what you're going to find. Trust me, you may not know this right now, but in our town right here, there are a shit ton of people with ARs that you would never think owns them. So just be out there in the lookout. That could also help you as well. Go ahead, Chloe. You're saying something, or Rich, whoever it was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's another company out there called Carries Guns on the internet. I've used their stuff before, and their stuff's pretty decent too. And right now they have two different rifles that they have in stock right now. One's $600 and the other $700.
There you go. AB's out there. What's up, AB? Yeah. So yeah, they're just talking about different things. So Tanner, I hope we helped you. If not, send me a message, or someone you know in this town has my number. Get my number from someone that's got it, and call me, and we'll talk. I'll help you anyway. If I need to meet you at the gun shop, I will help you out. That's just, let me know. So yeah, that's kind of a transition into what we're talking about tonight is vehicle guns. And this is something that has been a topic of interest in different groups that I'm in, and especially over the weekend. And I don't know if it was because of what happened last week with the riots or whatever, who knows. But it's been an interesting topic that people are wanting to know what's good for vehicle guns. And it's not just about guns, it's about maybe storage and all that. And I want to say, before we even start going down this road, when it comes to keeping firearms in your vehicle, make sure before you take a firearm inside your vehicle, make sure that you know what your state laws are on calibers, on barrel lengths, on configurations, on storage, whether it could be loaded or not. That is entirely up to you. So don't think that what we're saying in our state, when we can do this, it goes for everyone. Make sure that you're up to date on your own state and local ordinances and laws about what you can and can't have in your vehicle at a given time, crossing county lines, crossing state lines, all that stuff. You've got to make sure that you're up on that. But assuming all of that happens, let's talk vehicle guns. And so, JMA, what's up, my brother? I sent you a text earlier. If you want to jump in, let me know. I'd like to hear your opinions on some of this. So Jamie, if you're out there and you do want to jump in, let me know and I'll get you a link. But so I want to start out with Rogue and Clover and Rich and say, if you don't want to talk about specific things or whatever, that's fine. But Rogue, aside from the gun that you might be carrying, do you have a gun that you like to dedicate as a vehicle or truck gun, or do you have any, or have you ever had a gun that's kind of dedicated for a vehicle gun?
Well, I have. It depends. I'm going to give you a definite maybe here.
Sure, yeah.
It depends on what's happening at the time. Before, when I used to travel a lot for work, it depended on what my gun was. I'll say my standard loadout was, I have a pack that I throw in the back of my car, because out here we can get snowed in and things like that. You pretty much got to be able to care for yourself for a couple of days if you get stuck on the road. But in that pack was always a Ruger 1022 takedown and a Ruger SR22 pistol. And that's on top of my everyday carry. That is just, I like the 1022 takedown because it's in a nice little case. It's in my pack. It's in my trunk. No one's ever going to know it's even there. They just see a backpack. If you go through the backpack, kind of open the top of it, you'll just see some clothes, a tarp, and things like that. Anybody around here would just think that's my breakdown bag. Sure. If we went off-road, we used to go off-road a lot with the 4-wheel drive club. My truck gun was actually an M1 Garand.
Oh, nice.
Interesting. That was
interesting.
That thing out here, I mean, we're in Montana. We get these things called bears.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you have something pretty good, with some good takedown. M1 Garand is a solid gun. And it's funny because the 4-wheel drive club, they used to joke around with me. And I go, yeah. They're like, but you only have 8 rounds. I go, man, if I can't drop something in 8 rounds, that's pretty bad. But on top of that, the gun weighs
is if you can, then you still have your vehicle to get the hell away. So
yeah, Well, I can also swing that thing like a baseball bat. It's heavy. So we take the M1 out on truck runs. Other than that, I don't travel as much, but sometimes I'll load up a 308 AR for a truck for a vehicle gun. It really just depends on where I'm going and how long I'm going to be away.
I hear you. Clover, what about you? Do you or have you had a dedicated truck vehicle gun aside from your carry gun that you're going to have on you?
So my gun has multiple firearms usually at any given time. Sure. Just because of the nature of the beast. But I'll tell you this, one thing that's been a staple in my trucks for a very long time, it's a lever action and typically a 30-30. And one of the reasons, that's the most common lever rifle, I think, that you're going to find. And, can be had, or at least could back in the day. You could get the Marlin 336, couple decade ago, something like that. I forget now, but for $300, $350 a lot of times they'll sell at Academy, right? So not extremely expensive firearms too. And I think that's one thing that you got to, that gets me is, what's the point? I mean, is that something you're going to have to go out, kind of like Rogue said, leave it and forget it? Or is that something that you're going to have to remember to take in and out and everything all the time? To me, that negates the whole idea of having a truck gun, right? And so, it's there, it's there, it's out of sight, it's there if you need it. But what if you get broken into, right? And, you don't, a $1,500 AR or a, $800 rifle or even a $600 rifle, lot more of a loss, right, than a $300 used 30-30.
Sure. No, I hear you. Young out there says, how long is the show going to be on? I have to go feed the cows. We're going to be on, I would say, for probably 45 minutes. We usually go an hour and a half. Sometimes it goes on for 4 hours, but typically we go an hour and a half. So we've got another about 45 minutes or so. So go feed the cows. If you want to call when you get done, and we'll be on there. JMA sent a text to me. He said he's eating dinner with the fam, and he said if we're still on when he gets done, he wants to hop on. So that'd be kind of cool to get JMA on, and all that. Yeah, and I like what you say, because there are two avenues of thinking before I bring Rich in here, but there are two avenues of thinking as if it's a dedicated truck gun. A lot of people say they leave theirs in the vehicle. It's there. And we all remember high school, at least I did in Texas, people would go to school with their pickups and they'd have their rifles in the back window of their pickups literally every day. And they probably never left their truck ever. Then again, they probably didn't ever, lock their.
I also had a rack that slung across like the headrest, so it slung across the seat, and it was a single cab, of course, right? So, and it would hold 2 or 3 rifles back there.
Yeah,
so, I went to school with like 5 guns in the truck.
Yeah, but there is that mode of thinking of whatever you want it to leave in there, and if your car does get broken into, then we're going to talk about storage at a later time that could come into if you've got a way to store it, or a safe inside your vehicle. That could help that. But there are people who say leave them in the vehicle. And there are some people who say don't leave them in the vehicle. And so that's really kind of up to you, whether or not you want to leave guns in the vehicle, leave them there, or take them in every night.
Well, let's be honest. Here's the thing. Even if you leave for work in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And you take your rifle out and you put it in your truck or whatever it is, right? You put it in your truck and you bring it in every evening. Well, where do you stop that you leave that in the vehicle throughout the day? You know what I mean? It's not in your possession. You're sitting in the truck secure while you're inside at work. It's not while you're in Walmart picking up groceries, right? So regardless, there are times where it's going to be potentially, your vehicle could get, let's say vehicle, because we're talking about vehicles here more than trucks, but it could get broken into. And so
I always say truck gun, but people always go, well, I don't have a truck, I have a car. Okay, we'll call it vehicle. For me, it's a truck gun.
Same thing. But yeah, I mean, I with that in mind, I still go back to, golly, I just don't want to leave anything remotely expensive, hard to get, rare, anything like that. That might get stolen. That's one of the reasons that when I had the opportunity, we did the lawn chair pop. I had the little 38 Colt Detective Special, right? And that belonged to my grandfather. That was my console pistol for the longest of times. And I was relieved, and I didn't realize it when I got that Taurus Protector Poly, but I was like, oh snap, I've got a $300 revolver here. I can take my grandfather's revolver out of the console, and then if something happens, it's a modern production, readily available. I can replace that. It's not a problem. Yeah.
Now Steven out there says Clover, he thought you were for sure going to say some kind of a musket. But 223 DMR, now this was one that I used to use as a truck gun, is my high point carbine, 9mm. And I also kept my high point 9mm handgun in the vehicle, sharing mags. Now I go with, hold on. I just put a paint job on it today, so kind of a good little show and tell also, but I don't care. I'm not handling it, so I'm going to show it. That is the Foxtrot Mike FM9. I did a little paint job. It's a little olive and FDE two-tone. But now I keep this in the vehicle with me, but I also keep the a Glock 17. Why? Because I can, but 2, those share magazines too. So, and I've got some of the 30-round Glock mags and all of that will fit both a handgun and all that, plus whatever I'm carrying. So I'm always going to have that and the 17 in the truck with me to where share magazines. So I think that if you're going to go with a carbine and a pistol, I'm not saying you have to. I think it would be wise to, if you can get them like a little PCC, something that's going to be able to run similar magazines with your handgun and caliber. That way you don't have to have different magazines and different calibers and all that. You can grab 4 magazines that are 9mm, and you've got your PCC and your handgun that those magazines are both going to fit. I think that way. A lot of people don't, and that's fine. You don't have to, but that's one of the ways that that I do that. Let's get to Rich. We haven't let Rich talk yet. I'm trying to keep him in the corner here. But no, Rich, as far as a dedicated truck gun, vehicle gun, do you have and I'm going to kind of expound on this. I'm going to ghost you, as Clover likes to say, but that's the first question. But, what was your reasoning for your choices if you do have one?
Well, currently I don't, but I always wanted that Porsche 944 that Bill Cosby had in Leonard Part 6. If you remember the movie. The Porsche 944 with the tank turret on top.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I don't remember the movie. I remember seeing the Porsche, but I was like, the name of the movie did not ring a bell with me. But yeah, the vehicle, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I would love to have it.
Yeah, I was going to actually talk about something for people who may live in more restrictive states. You could always go with Clover mentioned a lever gun. You can always go with, say, a 357 revolver and like a Henry lever action in 357. And you've got the same shared ammo like what you were talking about.
44 Magnum, 45 Colt.
Yep.
A lot of them. And that's the great thing. If you don't like the carbines and you do like the lever action and all that, yeah, there's so many crossover calibers that are going to be helpful and all of that. So yeah, and at this point, guys, Rogue, Clover, Rich, we've all been doing this a while. Just don't overtalk someone or all that, but just let's have this open discussion. But I'm going to pose a question out there, and when you think about whether you have or you will, and for someone out there that might be new, that's thinking about carrying a firearm in the vehicle with them, what are some of the criteria that you guys generally think about as when you choose your weapon? Like, Rogue and Clover and myself and Rich all kind of have different ideas of firearms to keep in their vehicles, but what are some of the criteria? Is it, we're talking about how do you figure out what caliber, what length barrel, or whatever it is? What are some of the criteria that you guys think about when you decide on a vehicle gun? And you guys just jump in.
Size of the weapon, the size of the vehicle that you're going to be keeping it in. If you've got a full-size SUV or a full-size pickup truck, you're going to have more room to carry a full-size rifle than, say, if you have a subcompact car. In that case, you may want to look at something more along the lines of like a PC Charger or a AR pistol or an AK pistol or something like that, because you're going to have a much more current area, and you don't want to take up passenger space in case you have to go somewhere with the family or something. You're going to want something on the smaller side. If you have like a Suburban, the sky's the limit in that case, because you got plenty of room where you can store just about anything in there.
Sure. Clover, Rogue, or what are some of the thought processes that you guys go through when deciding what kind of firearm to take in the vehicle with you?
I would definitely say size, but I try to keep my rifles in the trunk because I always have my pistol on me. So it's kind of that whole use your pistol to get to your rifle.
Sure.
So for me, I'm not going to use the backseat of my car to have my big Kelty pack with my whole loadout in it. So that's in the trunk. If I need it, it's there. I have plenty of ammo for my pistol to get to my trunk.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, my thinking with the car too, though, if like I said, I specifically mentioned if you're traveling with your family, you may have luggage in the back in that trunk. You're not going to be able to get a rifle in there without. That's why I was saying if you got like a small car and you're traveling somewhere with your family, you're going to want something smaller.
There are states out there that are less friendly upon long rifles crossing state lines too. Remember, we got to talk about your laws. So, and Midnight brings up a thing about states that are less restrictive. That's why AR pistols and AK pistols are good options, because you can take a pistol across state lines. And I like that for multiple reasons. And one, the size. Now, I drive a larger vehicle, so So what I'm hearing so far from everyone, though, is size matters. Is that true? Size matters, because if it
In this case, definitely.
okay. But I drive a larger vehicle, so I'm not really worried about room for storage and all that. Bring in Sarge. What's up, Sarge? How you doing, homie?
Hey, what's up?
Chilling. We'll get you. I'll bring it back to you here in a second. We'll kind of catch you up. But for me, I use an AR pistol. One, because it's a pistol. You can cross state lines with it. As of right now, not a problem. Once again, I do like the PCC. Everyone knows I like the 9mm, but it's able to share ammo, able to share magazines with another gun in the vehicle and all that. Most importantly for me, I'm not probably going to be looking for something that I need to shoot outside of 100 yards, 150 yards. I mean, let's be honest. If I'm in a situation in my vehicle that I'm going to have to engage something that's 100, 150 yards away, I'm probably driving away. Okay. If possible.
I think you probably have to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying so I'm not necessarily worried about having a long rifle in the vehicle that's going to reach out to 300 to 500 yards. So that's why I go to PCC. It's when it's compact, it's a pistol. I can secure it and hide it in multiple places in my vehicle. It's a 9mm round that shares ammo with my handguns. It shares mags with the 17 that I carry in my gun. So I mean, like you said, I mean, it is what it is. What kind of show is this? It's a shit show is what it is, Rob. But that's kind of where I go with it. I want to bring in before Clover or Rogue wants to jump in. I want to bring Sarge in and say, catch you up. So I'm going to ghost you. I'm going to throw a couple different questions at you. First of all, not on duty, obviously, because we know that you have weapons in the duty vehicle, but as a civilian, when you're off duty, do you or have you ever had dedicated firearms for your vehicle, truck, vehicle, whatever? And if so, what was the reasoning why you selected those specific, or do you have criteria for those specific weapons that you dedicate for vehicle?
Right now, I just carry whatever pistol I have at the time. That's it.
Sure.
I don't believe in leaving guns in vehicles. Don't believe in that. But
Sure.
I'm not opposed to taking more guns in vehicles. Depends on where you're going. And, some places are more prone to running into see, what now we have to worry about isn't our previous problems of, if I don't go to the bad area of town and I stay in this section, what am I really going to run into?
Right.
Nothing that my pistol can't take care of. If in the off chance I did run into anything. Now, you don't know when things are going to flare up and all of a sudden you're in the middle of a mess. So I am not opposed to taking something a little heavier, probably. And I've thought about it. I want to buy a new backpack. I want to buy a new backpack for it, but I want to start bringing the Scorpion more places.
Let's say your Scorpion would be a perfect vehicle.
Especially since I put the PDW brace on it. It's super easy to get out. Love it. And like you said, you're not going to get into a situation where you're going to have to fire. You're really not going to have to fire 25 yards, let alone 100, 150 yards. That's just not going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Out and about. So, but
if it does, then there's a good chance you probably need to turn around and go the other way.
Yep.
Just saying.
Let's get out of there before everything gets really crazy.
Yeah. So Clover, Rogue, you guys, before we move on to another subject, anything you guys or Rich, anything else you want to add on maybe how you decide on what firearm that you're going to maybe dedicate for a truck gun?
It's your day-to-day life. I mean, I'm going to be, oh crap, there's coyotes here, or oh crap, look at the pigs or something. So, having I'm not going to be, the odds that, I'm in a firefight and I've got to run to my truck to get something else is very slim. And even if that was the case, lever action 30-30 would, could potentially get it done just as well as anything. But that I've got the versatility because 9mm PCC, I mean, odds of putting down pigs. I mean, are you going to pop a few, potentially get them to run off or whatever? Sure. But if you want meat in the freezer, odds are that's not going to happen with a 9mm.
Well, sure. Thanks again. Mandatory carry out there earlier. Sent a $3 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. TJ, $10. As always, all super chats go to Operation Gratitude to send care packages to troops downrange. So thanks for that. We're not asking you guys to do super chats, but let you know if you do, all of that has for the last, 6 weeks or so. Every week we get them, we send them to Operation Gratitude, and we're over, I want to say, close to 70 care packages that we have been able to put together for troops overseas. So thank you for everyone that does that. It takes about $15, $12 to $15, they say, on average to send a care package to a troop, and we've sent close to 70 just from this show over the last 6 weeks. So thank you so much to that, guys. I really appreciate that. We got a question. I'm going to run this in real quick from Nighthog. And Nighthog says, why do I need to carry let me read it exactly. I got the gist of it, but he says, devil's advocate, why do I need to carry a vehicle when I'm driving the deadliest, biggest caliber thing I own? And there's a lot to be said about that. Your vehicle, very well, but a lot of it just comes down to, once again, depends on the situation and where you're going. And I'll bring up the example that Clover was talking about. What if you've got a hog on the side of the road? You're not going to go chase that hog and run it over. So that's not going to do you any good at that point. If you're stuck in a traffic jam and for some reason there's someone just going ballistic, engaging on the highway in the middle of a traffic jam, your car could be stuck. Not saying that you want to go out and engage that guy again, but what if you have to, and that your car is exactly worthless at that point? It can't move. So I mean, I'm not trying to say that there are reasons to carry. There's always reasons to carry. It's America, but we're trying to kind of figure out specific reasons why you might have to carry a vehicle gun that might be aside from your carry pistol. Yeah,
we're in a different America than we used to be.
That's exactly right.
It's not necessarily two-legged critters you need to worry about either. I knew somebody whose car broke down when they were going back the dirt road they lived on, and they had a pack of coyotes come up on them.
Yep,
absolutely. That's real. We here in Arkansas, we have a lot of panthers and bobcats, mountain lions, whatever you want to call them. They're and they attack.
Pigs ain't cool, man. Pigs ain't cool. You get a sow with with a bunch of piglets. Not cool, man. When you walk up on something like that in the middle of the woods.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you, brother. Semper Fi.
Or on the side of the road, as it would be around here, because they're everywhere. So, what if you broke down? What if you broke down and you had to walk to the nearest house, or you had to walk, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah,
I would feel much better. I mean, because my EDC, my top two are 380s, so
sure.
Sal's gonna laugh at that. You would literally hear her chuckle, I'm sure. So having that 30-30 is gonna be the way to go.
Yeah, you don't want to have to be walking down the road on a dark night and come across a coyote or a pack of coyotes with a fresh kill either, and not have and only have.
That's true. That's true. The coyotes is going to depend on, what's going on. They get pretty rambunctious and stuff when they've got something there. If they're roaming or migrating, I mean, the 380 and a couple shots in the ground, and they're probably gone. But pigs will charge you. Period.
Like Defense says, I have two reasons here, period. One, my kid. Number two, see reason number one. So there you go. I'm all, hey, everyone's going to have their own motivation. They're going to have their own reasoning. And I am not going to sit there and tell someone you should carry or have a dedicated vehicle gun. I'm not going to say you shouldn't. It's whatever you feel like you need to or what you want to do. And that might be changed. Like Sarge says, on a normal everyday basis, your carry gun's probably going to be able to be fine. But if you know that you're getting ready to go somewhere that has had some interesting things happen, or it may not be as safe, or you're going to go somewhere for a couple days, even if it's for camping out with your family or whatever, but you're going to be gone for a couple days, there are certain circumstances that we need to start kind of thinking, because like we've all said, we live in a different America than we did 9 months ago. And that's just the reality of this world. We got another question on the text messages. Let's see if I can pull this up. Nighthawk says his is an AK pistol. I've got my AK. I love my AK pistol. I love shooting AKs. I think everyone knows that. I actually probably prefer shooting an AK over an AR. I love the AR platform. But yeah, the AK pistol are phenomenal. They're fun. Here's another thing that I have to think about also, and this is where I was surprised where no one said. Now I know that Rogue said the SR22 and the 1022 takedown is the only one. How much? Just I want to ask this question to the panel and just jump in. Don't wait for me to talk to you. But how much does sound? Because who obviously drives down the road with hearing protection on? Okay, so how much does the percussion and the report of a firearm come into your thought process of maybe what caliber you might carry in your truck gun? Does the sound effect and the decibel levels come into any factor at all? And that's just a question because it doesn't really to me, but I didn't know if that's something that people even think about.
I used to think about that, but since then, I've changed over to hearing protection that's also Bluetooth. So I actually have hearing protection all the time when I'm outside the house. So I don't, and then I can have ambient noise and all that stuff turned on as well. So I don't really think about that as much anymore.
It's sad, and I know that people are going to laugh at me. I don't give a shit. I keep plugs in my pocket because you never.
Let me give you a pro tip on those.
Yeah,
don't run them through the dryer.
Oh no! They're
useless at that point.
I take them out. I put them on my keys at night, but
I know.
In my pocket every day. And people are like, carrying hearing protection.
I forgot mine. Pockets. I forgot mine completely. It was awful. What happened?
I also keep little foamies, little foamies that you can get for nothing. And I had someone give me a box of the packages. So I keep about 10 packs of them in the car to where I could always have just the foams if I had to. But a lot of people say, why do you carry here? I don't know. I don't know why. But if I ever have to worry about it, that's something that, I'll have with me. It's not like I'm carrying around electronic muffs or anything.
Like you said, though, if like I said, it was a hog or something, you had a chance to take one, and you also had just a second longer. Hey, maybe throw your foamies in there. Probably not a bad idea, but if a situation's going down, that's the last thing you need to worry about.
Sure,
just take care of it and get out of there.
That's right.
It's not a bad idea to have them.
And you deal with hearing loss at that point if that's what it comes down to. It is what it is.
Probably just be temporary at that point.
Sure. Depending on what you're shooting. We've all fired, I'm sure, firearms without hearing protection on. And it's going to ring a little bit. And 5 seconds later, you're good to go. But someone out there is saying a 249 saw, 223 says a mounted M60. Hell yeah. I'm all down for that. I'm all good for that. So the next topic I want to talk about real quick is when it comes down to vehicle guns or firearms and all that. And I'm glad that Sarge is here when he is, because this is going to be a topic that he actually can talk about. I don't yet. I would love to, but what kind of storage do you guys have? A specific way to store your firearms? Do you have console safes? Do you have safe built in the back seat or something? Where are you guys, if you are going to
talk about at work?
No, I'm talking about in your personal vehicles, not for you, but we can talk about how you store them as well in your duty car as well. But just in the civilian world, do you guys have storage solutions or safes or anything in your vehicles that you do put your firearms in, or do you just let them you hide them or whatever? Feel free to just jump in, guys.
Well, if I have to take my handgun off because we're going to Maryland, we do have a little gun safe that we keep in the car.
Okay.
Got a little key lock on it, and it fits right into the side door, and it's got one of the cables that clamp down when you have it locked.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I know that Sarge said in the last month or so that you've been working with a console vault. Is that correct?
Yes, that thing. I wish they made one for my daily driver, but if they did, you wouldn't be able to put a pill bottle in mine. But in my wife's Tahoe, that console vault is it is pretty sweet. So, no, I mean, I'm not just saying that. It's pretty sweet. Of course, you can break into anything. We know that. Sure. But this is going to slow people down. The majority of vehicle B&Es are smash and grabs. When they see an easy target, this is one more layer. A, you don't leave an easy target for them to see. B, if they get in, probably not going to go a whole lot further. If they were to open the armrest and see that, probably not going to be messing with it too much because they want to get out. They don't want to get caught. Right. Now, of course, if someone was very motivated, they could. But I highly suggest that console vault. It is cool as could be.
Well, I saw your video when you first got it. It was a couple months ago or whatever, maybe around Thanksgiving-ish, somewhere in there. I was like, oh, I made a text and I was like, oh, that's badass. The problem is they don't have one for my vehicle.
Well, they don't have one for my Toyota either. They got one for the very next year model because if they had one for mine, it wouldn't hold anything. It'd hold my mini revolver, and that'd be about it.
Yeah, it'd be the same thing with my wife's car, her Escape. If they had a console vault for that, it would hold maybe a snub nose, like a 642, and that'll be about it.
See, now like her, I mean, that thing has got a beastly console to begin with, the Tahoe, and then it had the extension for the USB on it and everything, so we didn't really lose anything. So you can still hook her phone up through there. It's actually very well made and very well thought out.
So what I've actually been looking at and kind of doing some research are there some aftermarket consoles that from other vehicles that would fit into the Hummer? And if there is, then what I might do is if I can find one and install that console and find okay, that's a 2017 GMC Canyon or whatever. And if they have one for that, then that might be, but as it stands right now, it doesn't. So it is what it is, but those things look really cool as hell. So I want to go to Sarge real quick before I go to Clover and say, okay, that's for your civilian everyday ride. Now on duty, if you're allowed to talk about it, you guys have specific things that you have to carry in specific ways to store, I'm assuming, on duty in your duty car. If you're allowed to talk about that, I'd be interested in knowing kind of how you store your weapons while you're on duty.
Ours are in vertical gun locks. I forgot the company now that I'm on the spot. I can't remember the company that makes them, but they're a stand that comes up and it has a big, giant padded handcuff, basically. Okay. You set it up in it and you have to adjust the height until it gets, either above or below your optic, whichever way you choose, and it just clamps down around it and it keeps it right there. It's in a cuff at the bottom, and that's where it stores until I hit the release and then I can take them out.
Okay. So those are in the trunk, I'm assuming?
No.
Oh, they're in the front?
Mine in this car, because this car I've got now has a half cage. It's basically right behind my seat, kind of offset.
So the cage is behind the passenger seat. That's yes. Where your cage is. Yes. So this is now open area for you.
Yes.
I guess. Okay.
Now, previously, with a full cage, they have an alcove in the center that kind of pushes up because there ain't nobody riding in the middle of the back of a patrol car. Ain't happening. Sure. So that little alcove where it would come back would have room for a 2-gun lock right there. That would sit vertically.
It'd be like right here then.
Yes, it would be right there. And they sit vertically. That's why the old 18 and 20-inch barrel guns are out, because they'll be up in the headliner. So you have to have a 16-inch to 18-inch gun, or preferably one with a collapsible stock, because then it'll fit in there very well. Yeah. Because I actually tore the headliner in my first car trying to put my rifle in it, and I just put it in a case and kept it in the trunk after that.
Yeah. Now, Steven out there says he's just going to leave a Bobcat in the car to protect his gun. That's a hell of an idea. But what happens when you when you open that door? You better throw some meat to get that away from you.
Yeah, it's all you carry a T-bone steak in your pocket. Then when you open the car door, you just throw the steak and there goes the Bobcat.
Who doesn't carry a T-bone steak? Just saying.
Yep.
For sure. Clover, I want to talk to you. Throughout the years and all of that, where you live might be different than other people, but have you ever thought about storage or safes or anything? Is that something that ever came to your mind? And if so, what did you use for storage solutions for your guns in the car?
Only with travel, around here. No. And my wife has had to do that a couple times because a couple of places she has worked and currently works with the prison or whatever. It's got to be under 2 locks. You know what I mean? But that's it. I mean, it's 2 locks is really easy. So the car
door count as a lock.
Car door counts as a lock.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then, like so that if it's locked in a glove box, or if it's a locking console, or if you know what I mean, or if it's in the then that's another lock. Now the trunk is only 1 lock. You feel me? So that doesn't count. That's the external for the car. So it'd have to be in something else, obviously, in the trunk, or have a triggered lock even.
True.
But,
that is a lock.
With hers, whenever she's had the opportunity, we've got just a little single gun safe type thing with a cable basically rad through metal on the car. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where it's just you can't just smash and grab, because Sarge is 100% right. I mean, that's what people are looking for, is smash and grab.
Yeah, they don't want to
quick money.
Spend the time on going through safes or whatever.
Now, maybe. I mean, if you get some of the meth heads out in the boondocks out here, and Sarge, being with the county, probably works a lot of boondock areas, that's a different situation. A lot of times they've got time to go through the barn for hours a night with a flashlight. But
they're still minimizing risk. They don't want to get caught. They don't want to. They're still wanting to get in and out. I mean, they might get in there, but and like we said before, nothing is 100% secure. There's nothing that's 100% secure. But really, they're going to do like what you said. They're going to want to get something, get gone, and if it takes them a minute to pry on it, they're going to invest about 5 or 10 seconds, and then they're out. They just they don't want to get caught.
Yeah, because you got to figure. I mean, time. For them, time probably slows down to a crawl. So even just a few seconds to them probably seems like they're in there for minutes. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Their heart rate's out the roof. They're thinking about who they're going to go trade that to, and they're going to get that fix and move on. That's what they're thinking. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. And the reality is also, most people that are all crocked up on dope or meth, especially, they're usually paranoid. So every single person that's around there, they're wondering if so they're freaking out just in general. So yeah, absolutely. Rogue, bring you in here and say storage solutions / safes or whatever. Do you or have you thought about that and used them?
In the car, no safes, no storage solution. My sidearm's on me. If I'm traveling and I have my pack, the pack's in the hotel with me. Unless I'm, during the day, the car's usually at some place I could see it if I'm at a customer site. But one thing that we haven't really talked about, I mean, we've talked about laws and things like that, but I used to work for a bank, and they changed policy that we couldn't even have, we obviously couldn't have our guns on us in the building itself. But then they changed policy that we couldn't have guns in our cars on property.
Really?
And then it's so funny because the building I worked at, when they came out with that, I'm standing in my office looking out the window and I'm going, I count 15 cars I know that there's guns in, and none of us cared about the policy.
So let me ask you this: Are those parking lots public? Or
no, that was private property.
Okay.
It was private property, and it was just one of those things, is that we had a new CEO come in and take over the bank, and came in from, not Montana, and changed some things around, and all the Montanans just went, yeah, whatever. And then we just kept on doing what we were doing, because really at that point you'd have to catch us.
So how far would a public parking place or a street or something like that, how far would a walk would that be to work if you chose to park elsewhere?
If I could park on the street, and it would have moved my car 15 feet.
Okay. So that's public. I'm assuming you could,
and that would have been public. Yep.
You're allowed to have them there, correct?
Yeah. Now the trick was like the building I was in was county, but all the property around it was city. So if I were to store the gun in the car, I would have had to store it without a round in the chamber.
Okay.
So
Well,
there's some
it
just
can't
going
carry
15.
on you, so
Yeah.
Just
Just
what was
moving
that?
15 feet, I had to change laws.
So what he was saying is the parking lot is in county, but everything else around it, the public area around it, is city. If you park it in a city, it has to be unloaded.
It's still in the city,
Yep.
even if it's surrounded by. If the county owns it, it's still in the city.
No, actually, our building was truly county. It was not city. Even city police was not allowed to respond to our
Montana,
building.
who the hell knows what goes on in Montana? Up there?
I'm just saying it was still within the contiguous city limits. So
The limits of city, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing
no matter who
was,
owns
is
it.
out here, it's really weird because all the land around us was annexed. So we were still county just because of the annexation.
Yeah,
Now,
we
Wes
had
out there says, hold on, I'll mute it. Weston says his company doesn't want guns in the cars, but he knows lots of guns in the cars. I think that's pretty much everywhere. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah, we had a similar situation to what Road was talking about when West Virginia, where you had businesses coming in and telling people they couldn't keep guns in the cars and whatnot. So the legislature actually went and passed a law saying that businesses cannot prevent their employees from keeping guns in their cars because their car is their private property. It's not the business's property. Therefore, they cannot regulate what people do within their car.
We don't have that issue in Arkansas. So, like I said, I mean, it's interesting because I hear stuff like this from the places, and I've never had to worry or any of that stuff. So it's kind of interesting to me to hear because I never have to worry about whether I'm parking on whatever. It's it's in your vehicle. You're good to go. That's just the way it is. What's up, Pat? Pat's out there. Mario's out there. Sorry, I thought I saw Mario earlier, but if I'm not, I'm saying hello now. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you're talking about storage solutions and laws. Once again, we preface this whole conversation as know what your local and state laws are, interstate travel, what those laws would be, and all of that, to where you don't want to assume that everything's good, and you might not have any intent of doing harm or breaking any laws, but you could. So just make sure you're up to date on your city, your county, your state laws.
Don't underestimate what some very unfriendly states would do.
Yes.
Don't underestimate that. What, like Rich would say, traveling through Maryland. I would think that it's probably a known thing for people that border that, not to travel through Maryland with a pro-gun sticker on the back of their car or something like that, because they're likely to get pulled over. They'll find a reason. I would think that's probably a thing.
It depends on what part
I
of
used to live in
Maryland.
Maryland, and I went to a competition in New Jersey. It was at Fort Dix, and I was driving on the Jersey Turnpike with Maryland tags and a Glock sticker on the back of my window. And I got pulled over on the Jersey Turnpike, and that was probable cause because of that sticker. And what I didn't know, even though my gun was disassembled and locked up and all that stuff, what I didn't know was no firearms were allowed on the Jersey Turnpike, period.
Well,
yeah. You didn't happen to have hollow points too, did you?
I can tell you there's been at least one on the Jersey Turnpike.
No, this was back in the 90s. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was funny because I got pulled over one exit before I was getting off. The cop, after some negotiation at the side of the road about inspecting my firearm, he just kind of laughed. He goes, "You're going to the Glock shoot, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, get off. No firearms are allowed on the turnpike. Find another way home." He was pretty cool. He was pretty cool about it, but I'm sitting there basically crapping my pants, realizing that I'm now going to. I could be arrested for a felony right now.
I don't know whether that would be a felony. That might be just some sort of.
It's New Jersey. I wouldn't put it past it to be a felony.
Yeah, well, but I mean, if it wasn't against state law, if it was just you couldn't have it on the turnpike, but still, That was the proper way
would've
for him to handle it.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, I know you didn't know. I know where
Yeah.
you're going. Let's do this and just come back a different way, and we're all good. That was the proper way to handle that.
Yeah, he was pretty cool about it. I mean, we did negotiate a little bit because he wanted the combination to my locks, and I wasn't going to give up the combination to my locks.
Yeah.
But we worked it out, and it was all cool.
So, Sarge, I want to bring you in just because he mentioned something that kind of struck me funny. He said that the Glock sticker on his car could be used as probable cause.
Well, it's reasonable suspicion, first of all.
Okay.
So you just have to have reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot to take a vehicle out of transit, which is a traffic stop.
And literally a sticker on a car could
now here, obviously not. Here, obviously not.
But in general, someone could justify a stop on a sticker.
So you just have to have a reasonable suspicion. Yeah, that's well below 50% accuracy.
Right.
So would I ever be in that situation? No. Could I put myself in their shoes? Could I see that? What are the chances of someone with firearm stickers on the back of their window having a firearm in the vehicle in a prohibited area? What are the chances? Probably pretty good.
Sure.
Not definite, but probably pretty good. I could see where he was coming from. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. Could I see where he was coming from? Yes.
Yeah, and I had never thought of a sticker being something. So in law enforcement terms, and you were talking about being less than 50%, would reasonable doubt is the reasonable doubt in layman's terms that 50-50 threshold?
No.
Okay. So
like,
in the percentage,
when they say conviction beyond a reasonable doubt, and we were talking like that jury has to think, man, there is a 99% chance this is the person. It's not just it was probably him. No. That's what they tell you in a jury. If you have any doubts, if you have any, then you have to say not guilty.
Absolutely,
you have to.
Yep.
But reasonable suspicion is like way down on the.
I'm just trying to get people out there that might hear terminology that are maybe new to this and say, well, what is reasonable suspicion? And all that.
It's
so
way down there.
Probable
cause.
That's kind of up there. Possibly is the suspicion could be the catch-all of I'm suspicious of that vehicle.
See now if he formed probable cause, like say you said, yeah, I'm going to the Jersey shoot. And you can't have firearms on the parkway. And you said, yeah, I'm going to that Glock shoot, excuse me. And your gun was in there. He was merely preventing from having to go further by you giving him the combination. If he wants to pop that thing open, it's happening. It's happening. So by doing what you did, everything went super smooth. Yeah. So I am glad that it worked out that way. But
absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be a pain in the rear and really make things hard on yourself.
Oh yes.
I tell the story about all the time, not firearm related, but it's interaction with law enforcement. So I was coming out of Dallas, and back in the day, downtown they used to have made big, huge electronics like flea market thing once a month, and it happened like overnight. The people would get there like late Friday, and then it would go until like noon on Saturday. So the best deals were you went to downtown Dallas in the middle of the night, Friday night, Saturday morning, right? And so coming back from that, and I'll never forget, man, barreling down the freeway, coming through Seagoville, which is crazy because that's prison town, and here had just stopped at Whataburger, pulled back on the interstate, got pulled over, guns drawn, man, it was crazy, and ended up. There was a report of a robbery that matched the color of my truck, but it was a Chevrolet, not a Ford, and a totally different license plate number. But had I been a butthole, you know what I mean? When they pulled me over and, I hadn't done nothing wrong. That could have ended badly, real badly. And so you never know what dispatch has told them or what little information maybe they're running on, or so don't make things difficult on yourself. Was it an inconvenience for 15 minutes? Did I get, turned around, cuffed and everything else? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It was an inconvenience for that law enforcement officer as well. He could have been doing a lot more things than getting you.
Well, he could have been catching the real criminals if he had.
I can tell you this: the odds of someone getting the make and model right on a truck out of an armed robbery are super slim. I'm surprised they got the color right.
Yeah.
So people are terrible about that because they're shocked. They're absolutely shocked, and they may spit out Ford F-150, and it was really a Chevy, and they may say red, and it was clearly maroon. But so, like you said, but yeah, was it an aggravation? Yes, it was an aggravation, but ultimately it all worked out well.
Well, one of the things that was a kind of a red flag in a way was it was one guy supposedly right in the truck, and it was me and a buddy. I never went up there alone. I always had a friend that would ride and go hang out and all that. So there was two of us. So that was kind of weird because it was just one guy supposedly that robbed the place, and one guy that run out and jump in the pickup and all that. So, but yeah, it was 15. I'm going to say 15, maybe 20 minutes. You know what I mean? And 5 of that was probably talking about the sale in Dallas. They're like, oh, well, what were y'all doing? Oh yeah. What's going on? What's that about? And so there was a few minutes of conversation on that, and then we were on our way. So did it suck? Yeah. But could it have been horrible? It could have been absolutely horrible.
Yeah, TJ out there says, don't laugh when they ask if there are any weapons in your vehicle. It'll get you an extra car. That is true, at least locally here. I don't have Chris on here again soon, because that'd be a good question for him, our sheriff. But I want to ask you, Sarge, if you pull someone over and there are firearms, whether or not it's in a negative way, but there are firearms or something like that, what is the procedure? Is there multiple cars going to be involved with that stop now because of firearms, or is that?
It all depends.
Okay.
I don't care. I mean, if it's, as long as it's not someone operating outside of the law, I could care less.
So there's nothing that says that you have to call for backup if you find firearms in a car.
Okay. I don't have to. No. You can if it's someone.
Yeah, sure.
I do different things now. So the people I'm dealing with are the more problem children of the area. If I find a gun, we're going to have a major issue because everybody I deal with isn't eligible to have a gun, and they're up to something else, or else we wouldn't be dealing with them. That's a different scenario. But say Joe Blow, I got called out to work a checkpoint a while ago. We had to work a checkpoint, and one of the guys was coming through, and he handed me his license to still carry, and he was from California and recently moved out here, and he was kind of nervous. I was like, okay, cool. I said, I appreciate you being an armed citizen. Everything looks good. Hey, you have a good night. And he's just like, oh man, thank you. Cool. That probably wasn't the norm for him.
Not in California anymore, Toto.
Yeah, I was like, we're good. I'm glad you can take care of yourself.
Now, TJ, he says he's suspicious as fuck. So yes, just for you walking up to seeing you, TJ, I'm going to bring another car in. But that's just another story. But yeah, no, like I said, I didn't know if, and I'm sure there are some places that they might have that mandatory backup or something like that, but I didn't know if you had that or not.
And I'm speaking of from where I'm at. Obviously, if you're in a different area where the majority of people, if you end up having an interaction, see here, I mean, your average traffic stops and average things, you're still dealing with good people most of the time. But if you're in an area where the majority of calls or self-generated calls are on people that are really operating outside the law, your level may be a lot higher. Like I said, what I'm dealing with now, a lot of, my level is a lot higher. So it just really all depends on where you're at.
Sure. I don't even know if we want to go on this rabbit hole or not. The House is voting on the 25th Amendment, meaning if the yays have it, Pence will be your acting president tomorrow. Don't really want to go down that, but I don't think it's as simple as just the House voting. happening. So just
No,
saying.
they have to have probable cause for that. Yeah, they have to have probable cause for that, which means something medically, mentally, or criminal.
Yep.
And none of that applies. And it would also have to be a Senate vote as well.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to say is do your research, do your homework. It's not just the House voting on it and it happens. They can
have to have
to impeach, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be removed impeached. I mean, he's already been impeached once by the House.
Oh, and they're wanting to do it again.
So, you know what I'm saying? So
with so little time left.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're talking, we're 8 days away and this is so worth it right now. So yeah. Anyways, that's why I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole, but I did want to mention it for more reason to say, relax, RELAX, relax. It's all good. All right. We're going an hour and a half. It's been a great conversation. I want to start with Rogue and say anything that you want to kind of follow up on. We're not doing plugs right now, but anything you want to follow up on and talk about what we've talked about tonight.
The biggest thing is that if you can get a concealed carry permit, carry it. I mean, I've seen so many people that have concealed carry permits that don't actually use it. Get used to carrying that weight on your hip.
Absolutely. No doubt. Clover, anything that you want to kind of follow up with or fill in the gaps on anything we've talked about tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
All right. Rich, what about you?
Yeah, tip for the day. If you are pulled over, do not start screaming that you are a sovereign citizen and demanding to see your local sheriff.
Right.
Oh, geez.
That is not going to end well for you.
No.
You know what I tell them? I tell them the sheriff's busy. That's why he sent me.
That's actually pretty damn good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sarge, anything else that you want to kind of close up with?
Carry every day. This ain't the same America we used to be in, and just be careful where you go.
All right, we're going to start with you. Plugs. What's going on with the channel? Do you have any projects coming up? Anything that you want to talk about that where people can find you on the interwebs?
Talking to me?
Yep, absolutely. Go ahead and start with you.
Click on C4 Defense on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you get a chance. I've got some stuff coming in to continue the Glock 20 project because I didn't want to do all the videos in a row. Want to get some other stuff out. And I got a SIG video getting ready to do. And did you see where I did the little short the other day with Greg? He's making a new gun that he's going to send over. I kind of spec'd one out for him to build. I'm like, this is what people like. So when it gets here, we'll do a review on that.
Is it Cosent?
Cosent.
It's a Cosent.
It's
How
Irish.
they want to pronounce it as Cosent, correct?
It's Cosent. Okay. I can promise you they can't use the word saint because of some other firearms company that sued them.
Firearm company, yeah.
No, one of the big ones sued the little guy, but really Cosent was the whole pronunciation the entire time. But he said he's really got to push the correct pronunciation because when people say it wrong, that other company they get all steaming mad at him. But That's not his fault. But that's what I got coming up. I got some more stuff from Cosent, the Glock 20 project, and some SIG stuff, and just going to hopefully we get a really nice day to get back out on the range. That's what I'm hoping for.
Before you go, I forgot we had a text early on in the show from Jason and wanted to know, and I know that you do run dots on your pistols. He was wanting to know.
I have a lot of dots.
Well, and I think you might actually have one on a 29, maybe. But he's got a Glock 29, and he wants to get some RMR cuts. Is there a company out there that you would?
I can tell you 100%. I've seen their work. I would definitely check out it. You could type in CHPWS. It's C&H Precision Weapon System. Any combination of that. Okay. C&H Precision, anything like that in a Google search is going to bring it up. They have got really one of the best prices. That's who I'm going to get to do the 20 for me when I do it because I'm going to get that one cut. And they can do those ZEV threaded posts. They have that. They have paid ZEV because they have that copyrighted, would it be, or would it be patented? Excuse me, patented. So they're paying a fee to be able to do those threaded posts. Check out their website. That's who I bought my my V4 mount for, my Glock 45. Yeah, the Glock 45 to mount the RMR. It takes up all the slack instead of the MOS plates. They make really nice stuff, and they do it pretty reasonable, and they really appear to do very good work. From what I've seen so far, very happy. So that's who I would check out.
We were talking about Jaegerworks and Lone Wolf. Ultimately, we came down where, they're all for pretty good.
They're all good.
Came down is let me ask you your opinion, because I think we all kind of said that's a really good idea, but get your opinion on this and say, would it just be better to go and get a slide that already had cuts in it and keep the original configured slide in the back and just go get a slide, an aftermarket Glock slide with a dime a dozen out there now?
I mean, I can't show it to you, but
Sure.
I love my my Live Free Armory Glock that I have, and the SIGs. I can see them right here, but I can't show them to you.
I don't care.
No, we're not doing that.
I showed one earlier. I showed one earlier. you can show it. You just can't. You just can't handle it. So
there, I didn't handle it.
There you go.
They just they're very nice. It just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to keep the stock slide? Do you want to get an aftermarket slide? It's all up to you.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. The reason why I stopped, because I know that you're the one in here that actually does run a lot of RMR. So I don't. So I didn't know if you. So that's a good one. I hope Jason is out there. If he's not out there, then I'll send him a text and say, "Hey, at the hour and a half mark, watch Sarge." So one thing I
like about CNH weapons is they will, if you look at their website, they'll Cerakote where they milled it out instead of having to get the entire thing Cerakoted.
Oh, nice.
They'll do that free of charge.
Nice.
You don't have to worry about it rusting.
That's awesome. Now we're doing time frame. How long with time you send it in and get it back? We're talking a couple of weeks here, or do we know really? Is it a month or?
I don't. They're not backed up like other companies.
Okay, all right. So there you go. So Jason, if you're out there, that'll help. Rich, bring you in here and say thanks for joining us and kind of plug the channel. Tell us what kind of projects you might have coming up. Anything that you want to talk about the show or anything like that. Go ahead and you've got the floor, my friend.
All right, Saturday nights on the Outlaw Hatfields channel, we've been doing this wrestling chat. You've been over there. You've seen what we're doing over there.
I don't know shit about this. I enjoy the conversation.
It's at 9 p.m. Eastern over on the Outlaw Hatfields channel. And then Sunday nights on the Unloaded Media channel, we do This Week Unloaded, and you never know what we're going to talk about on there. Sometimes a guest may scare Ghost off if he starts talking about the emergency surgery on cattle.
I have been known to leave chats for that. Yes. Or chuck a little bit. Yeah. So
that's at 8:30 Eastern, or 8:30 Eastern over on the Unloaded Media channel. So check that out. And other than that, I don't have anything planned, but you never know. I might just get challenged to do a video on somebody else's video, and because I'll make a comment.
Are you actively recruiting such challenges at this point?
I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens.
What you're saying is you're not against them.
Yeah, I'm not against them. I mean, you challenged me and I made a video, and Kingpin challenged me and I made a video. So I never did get around to making one for Guns and Barbecue, though. I kept forgetting to do it, and it was right before Christmas, and a bunch of stuff was going on, and I just never got around to doing it.
I do like, especially in comments, and I'm torn because half of it's just being a smart ass, but I like, especially in comments, I do like challenging people to make their own videos, knowing that most of the time they won't. They're just blowholes, that they're just being trolls, and that's why I say that. But there are people like you that I know that you make a good comment. And I don't even remember what the comment was on video, but you made a comment. It's just 6 months ago or whatever. And it was a great comment. Like, that's a great one. Make a video. I wasn't expecting you to actually make a video, and you did. I was like, hell yeah, that's badass. So I love it. So
it was your top 5 mid-size carry pistols, and that's what it was. I put what my top 5 was, and you're like, "Well, make a video about it." I'm like, okay.
And you did. And it was awesome. I was like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Good stuff. Yeah, go check out Unloaded Media for This Week Unloaded. And like you said, he's on with Ellis over the Outlaw Hatfields channel on the Saturday night wrestling chat. It's pretty good stuff. But This Week Unloaded is a Sunday night right before Bawoosh the closer. So thanks for coming on, bud.
Yep.
Rogue, come on in and give some plugs. What kind of projects do you have coming up and all that good stuff?
Well, I've got a backlog of product videos that I've been releasing. Usually I release on the first and third weekend of the month, but I've got enough to keep going for probably about 2 months of releasing content every week. So I'm getting through that. Plus I'm working on what I call my winter content, which is the gunsmithing stuff, the disassembly, reassembly. So I have a couple of videos I uploaded today that'll come out later. So I'm getting pretty excited about that because that's really kind of the videos that I founded the channel on. So it's always fun to get back to the roots. But other than that, that's just keep plugging away on stuff.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
You can catch me on just about any social media, the Rogue Banshee.
The Rogue Banshee. Love the avatar logo, whatever you want to call it. It's one of my favorites. Just love it. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on, bud.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, anytime. You're on the list now, man. You're on the list. So yeah. Clove, what about you? You got anything coming up? You don't do anything. So
I don't do anything. I sit around the house and bake cakes and pies and stuff. That's all I do.
Well, that's true, but that is true also.
Yeah, that's true also.
Bake cake,
yeah.
So
keto recipe.
It's not all that you do.
No, I released one just a few hours ago. As a matter of fact, I did a what's in the box a few weeks back or something like that. Finally got to release the first video on what was in the box. So if you're curious about what was in the box, go check it out. And spoiler alert, it was a Gerson MC312 Sport semi-automatic shotgun. And so, yeah, pretty neat shotgun.
Awesome. Do you have a topic for tomorrow or for Thursday night, or are you not releasing that yet?
No, I mean, it was kind of going to depend on if I can get cell service back. Finally.
That's true. Yeah.
I've been kind of cut off from a lot of the normal world that I'm able to talk to, and that sort of provokes yeah, it kind of is in a way, but that kind of provokes like, okay, I need to talk about this, or maybe we should talk about that. Right. And unfortunately, I've had 2 days of virtually zero cell phone communication. So for anybody out there that's looking to get in touch with me, you're going to have to do it through DM, PM, social media, something, because it ain't working if you try to do it on the cell phone, text, or call. Not happening.
Gary's out there making a joke, but it would have been amazing had you known that the 42 was there. And 6 inches of snow overnight would have been hilarious to see a video and all that.
Yeah, no. Overnight, Jesus Christ, all day. What are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it wasn't just like for a little bit. It was
left out. It was left out one evening, right?
Yeah.
Before it got dark. The next morning it started snowing.
So it was a day and a half basically.
That night it stopped snowing, and then the next day at lunch is when I found it. So yeah, nearly 2 days. But nearly 2 days outside and a solid 24 hours or pretty close to it under the snow. So
under snow, yeah. I love that.
And Rud's fine, man. Rud's fine. Not a problem.
Glock perfection. You can hate all you want, but there's a reason why.
All the, Winchester PDX-1 ammunition, and every one of them, I wasn't gonna. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I was gonna keep those in the magazine and continue to carry them.
To go ahead and rotate those out.
Yeah, dumped every one of them. And they ran fine. So yeah, now they're PDX-1's nickel case. I don't know, no longer than it was out there. I don't know that any of that necessarily made a difference, but
yep.
Yeah, can't complain.
RTAC and daughters out there. RTAC says that the Draco AK upgrades are done, so be looking for some videos on that. That'd be kind of cool. I'll be looking to see that. For me, man, Unfortunately, I got so many things going on right now. I don't have time for all of it, but I've got some holsters coming in to be working on. Got confirmation this morning from my contact at Taurus that tomorrow they are sending out my finally the Taurus G3. So looking forward to that.
There's one of those at the local gun shop here, and I bought that Uberti 4440, and I almost got that Taurus.
I've been looking at the G3s for a long time. I think they're really good looking guns. They're good looking guns.
Yeah.
For I don't know what now, but at one point they were like 260, 269. So you're talking about the reason why I had never even really thought about them until I put a video out, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, top 5 handguns under $400, and everyone initially started flooding the comments about the Taurus G3. And so I was like, never owned a Taurus. So I reached out to Taurus, and it's been in the works, but I got an email confirmation this morning that it's mailing out tomorrow to the FFL. So I'm looking forward to playing with the Taurus G3. It's a good looking gun. And if it's something, even in inflated prices, you can still find them online for $350, $360.
What is it?
The Taurus G3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine's mailing out tomorrow, and so I'll be looking forward to messing with that. I've never owned a Taurus, so
man, the local gun shop, and you're talking the local gun shop, not online, but it was less than $250.
Oh yeah. Well, I just remember here at my local gun shop, this was a few months ago, they were running for about $259.
Yeah.
The price pre-pandemic to post-pandemic, my buddy's dealer cost has gone up almost $100.
The cost of it?
Yes, they increased like almost 50%.
Yeah,
they're still cheap. They're still reasonable.
Depends,
but they've increased almost 50%.
It depends on the dealer and what distributor they got to go through and a lot of other things. So mine, the last time I was in there, they had some. Oh crap! What ammo was that? I can't even remember now. It sucks, but whatever it was just 50 round boxes, nothing like special, right? Of 9mm, and it was $22 a box, 2-box limit. And I actually seen the invoice where they bought it. They paid $21 a box.
Right. No, that's the way it goes.
Shipping and everything. They had 20. They were making $1 a box is all they were making off of it, and people were, oh, it's too high. Like, but it sold out in a couple of hours. A case did.
Yeah, RTAC says that at the gun shop there, they've got the G3s at $300 and can't keep them in the shop. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if you go out online, if you can find one, I've seen them out there for, anywhere from $300 to $350, which really, like, once again, I mean, it's still a good gun at $350, but at $250, is when I first saw them in the gun shop. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. If this thing performs like people say it does. And even at $300, is it in that same caliber as a Canic? Is it in the same caliber as a SAR for that kind of that same price? I don't know. We're going to find out. I doubt very seriously that a trigger is going to be as good as a Canic, but we're going to find out. But yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to working with Taurus. So it'll be interesting.
Well, but anybody's looking for one that can't find one, hit me up because I'm sure my local gun shop will ship.
Yeah, sure. Says he paid $250 for his G2C. Rich says he paid $199 for his G2C. So yeah. Now, Rich, do you have a G2C review video out there?
No, I don't. But that was my carry pistol before I got my P365.
Would you be interested in doing a review video for that? And when I do this review, I can tag the G2C into, if you want to, if you ever want to do,
I could do that, but right now it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be able to do a range review. It would just be me talking about it.
That's up to you. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this probably in the next. I would say it'll take me a couple weeks to get the video shot, and all. I'm only going to do about a 250 round review because I'm not doing a 2,500 round review. Ain't no way in hell I'm doing that. I'll probably do a 200 round review or something like that, and it might take me a couple weeks to get that thing done. Once I get it, should be here, I guess, Friday. If it mails out tomorrow, it should be here Friday.
Yeah, I got about.
If you want to, I'm not saying you have to, but if you want to, let me know and I'll link it in my video.
Yeah, I'll do. I can do something with it. Like I said, it probably won't be a range review right now because my wife's work schedule, and I'm pretty much dependent on her to get anywhere because I'm not allowed to drive and all that other crap. So, and with the cost of ammo and crap right now too, doesn't help matters if you can even find any. And 9mm is like not the ammo I have the most of.
Exactly. So Rogue says the gun reviews in 2021, a 2-shot review. No doubt.
Yeah, but I could easily do like a tabletop type review for you.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you're interested, since you have one, if you're interested in doing that, or anyone out there, I'll put it this way, if anyone out there has a G3C, because I'm just getting a G3, but a G3C or a G2, G2C, G2S, any of those, and you have a review on your channel or you're planning on doing the next week or two, let me know and I'll try to link those in on mine.
Doesn't P11 have one on the G3C on his channel?
Don't get me lying. He probably does. I know he has one, so I'm sure he's done that.
Well,
so.
they were shooting defense stats.
Okay. I thought he has a Taurus G3C.
He has a G2C.
Okay. But anyways, yeah. So if anyone out there, let me know. Email me if you've got one on your channel and all that. And like I said, man, I don't mind linking your video and mine. See how it goes. If it's going to help you out or not. And all that great stuff. So guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks everyone for super chats. That's awesome. Mandatory carry, TJ, Nethery was out there. The super chats, those are going towards Operation Gratitude for care packages for our troops downrange. So I appreciate you guys as always.
Real quick, Gary wants to know what about the PT-111 G2? That's basically the G2C, but that was the one right before it. And then our tech and daughter says that he has one on his channel.
Perfect. I'll make sure to do that. And Gary, do you have a video about the PT-111? If so, then I'll go and get that link as well. So budget says still on. Yeah, we're getting ready. We literally have said our goodbyes. We're just kind of bullshitting at this point. But and all that jazz. But thanks everybody for watching. If you're watching a replay or listening to a podcast, God bless you. An hour and 50 minutes of us rambling on is great. But I don't know if it affects algorithms or not. Mandatory carry. I don't really care about that. But I do care about sending care packages. So I'm all good for that. Pat Hurst says, just got an AR-15 and only 30 rounds through it. Just get the scope dialed in. No offense, I love you, bro, but if it takes you 30 rounds, get that scope dialed in. Call me. We can get that done.
Gary said he does have a video. It's old and a short video, and he also has a longer review on the G2S, which is the single stack version of the G2C.
I will. I can link both of those. Absolutely. So if you're out there and you have a Taurus video out there, let me know and I can link it. So we'll try to share some love. So anyways, guys, thanks for coming on and watching live. If you're listening to replay or watching and replay or listening to podcast, thank you so much. Thanks to the Rogue Banshee, to Clovertack, to Rich, and to Sarge out there. Go look at their channels. Go subscribe to them. Go check out everybody else that's out in the chat. Budget does videos. Gary does videos. There's a D23 does stuff. There's a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss some people out there. Go check out TJ over at gear-report.com. Artak and Daughters does videos. I'm going to miss a lot of people. Honcho is out there. Midnight Range Team, go check out the closer Sunday nights and all of that. Check out all these guys. There's some really amazing people in our community, especially if you're kind of new to our community. Then go and check everybody out because you'll find some people that you like. You'll find some personalities that are great ones out there. Budget says he's got one. It's real old, but it's there. I'll go check it out as well. So Ghost Rider comes in he's coming in hot. We're getting ready to leave, but you guys take care. We'll talk to you soon. Semper Fi.